Good morning, and thank you to OAS for the opportunity to present here today. Visus Therapeutics is a clinical stage company, and we are disrupting the treatment paradigm for presbyopia patients and developing a potentially best-in-class treatment in what is emerging to be a multi-billion-dollar global market. In the first half of last year, we announced positive data from Brio 1, our first of two pivotal studies. In that study, Brimochol demonstrated all-day duration, favorable tolerability, and it was in that study also that we demonstrated contribution of elements. Brimochol was shown to be superior to both carbachol and brimonidine, the two monotherapies in that study, that crossover design. Brio 2, our second pivotal study, will read out in December. In a few weeks' time, we'll have the top-line data from that study. And then we look forward to filing in the first half of next year. This is the largest and longest presbyopia safety study, and will generate over 70,000 dosing days of data. We have a proven leadership team with multiple approvals and blockbuster launches, and that team is expanding. And I'm excited to announce today that we will be pursuing a post-approval label expansion for redness relief owing to the known properties of brimonidine in the formulation. Over multiple market research studies, we've found that patients are highly motivated to try an all-day eye drop through all stages of presbyopia, but little did we know that patients find the loss of near vision to have such an impact on their daily lives. These data here on the left showing that the loss of near vision was reported as number one or number two most impactful when compared to these other age-related ailments, and of a more than fourfold greater concern for people than dry eye disease. With that data, we and others started to pursue development of a combination therapy. You see the target formulations here on the left and the final formulations on the right, the two approved products in the top two rows and the two products in final stages of development down the bottom. And Brimochol is the only formulation now that has the opportunity for a combination approval. And why pursue a combination? Well, it comes down to leveraging the power of brimonidine and carbachol synergistically for the indication. And we first saw this back in 2020 in a PK study in rabbits. What we were able to demonstrate was that carbachol levels in the iris ciliary body, the target tissue, were increased by about 42% in the presence of brimonidine relative to carbachol alone. So we get a boost in peak efficacy with the combination, ample duration, and then obviously we leverage the vasoconstrictive properties of brimonidine. These are some data here from similarly conducted phase 2 studies showing that peak efficacy in the early hours of Brimochol versus LNZ100. These are some further efficacy data from Brio 1, that crossover study of last year. We have presented on this before. This showing that we met the primary endpoint in UK and Europe. The primary endpoint was an area under the curve analysis of Brimochol versus carbachol and brimonidine at hour 8. We met hour 8, so we have an 8-hour label claim for Europe. We showed significance, as you can see, down the bottom with the p-values at hour 10. And subjects here were reading approximately 3 lines at hours 1 and 2 and still reading comfortably 1.5 lines out to hour 10. This here is some further data from Brio 1 showing that approximately 50% of subjects were reading 20/40 or better out to hour 10, which is equivalent to reading 7-point font on a page. And most people can navigate through their day not having to read that small. So it reasons that if you can graduate to 20/40 or better, you're likely to be able to navigate through your day glasses free here. And then at the end of each dosing day in Brio 1, again, it was a crossover design, we queried subjects in the study and asked these 3 questions. How would you rate the duration of this eye drop, from 0 being too short to 10 being too long. And they gave Brimochol a just right. For effectiveness, a 7. And on willingness to use, from 0 being never through to 10 being every day, Brimochol was given a mean of a 7. Over 35% of subjects said they wanted to use Brimochol every day. So pleasing results from that study. And in a cash pay product like this, tolerability will be absolutely paramount. This is a tolerability comparison for the 2 once daily presbyopia drops in development, Brimochol shown here on the left and LNZ100 on the right. You see here 0 rates for hyperemia on the left with Brimacol, and favorable tolerability down the line here. And there's been a lot of discussion, in the category for these miotic agents about what is the right pupil size to target. And obviously it depends on lighting conditions. The optimal pupil size really depends on how much light you're letting into your eye. In very bright light conditions, having a small pupil all day long is fine. But if you need to drive to work in the morning in winter time at 7 a.m. and it's dark outside, you need to obviously let more light into your eye. So it's light independent. This is a paper that's been referenced frequently by Thebos, which shows again that depending on the lighting conditions, balancing the needs of near and distance vision, the pupil size changes. We would assert that a broader and higher range for pupil size, as shown here, is more optimum to navigate through the different conditions during the day and through different seasons. You see that Brimacol spends a good deal of its time in that range versus more significant meiosis on the right. So in summary, Brimacol is emerging as a potential best-in-class formulation in this category. From Brio 1, we demonstrated contribution of elements, all-day duration, and favorable tolerability. Brio 2, again, will read out within a matter of weeks, and then we will file in the first half of next year. Again, this is the largest and longest safety study in presbyopia and will generate over 70,000 dosing days of data. And again, we look forward to initiating new studies into next year for a post-approval label expansion for redness relief, owing again to the benefits of brimonidine, and we see this as being a significant differentiator in the category. Thank you again for the opportunity to present.